But Mom and I in particular really wanted to reach out and ask for prayers to help everyone get through this, especially for my dad and for my mom, but also for the nurses and doctors taking care of him, my brother, and family and friends who have come to support us. I miss my dad. My brother misses his dad. My mom misses her best friend and husband.
Hello, this video is about the one role that explains Mikhaila Peterson. When you look at Mikhaila, what do you see? Some see a fragile fate, sincere but pressure-forged and sealed under threat. Others see the mom, operator, with values, a marriage, mission. And some see a grifter, with no real talent, who rode her father's fame. So, what's the common thread? And who is she really? My take. There is one role that explains all three pictures. Mikhaila is the stabilizer, the person who unconsciously keeps the family system working. That role makes her fate containment first, sincere, but born to steady the family, makes her talent look invisible, and explains why the empire still ships. I pulled the receipts and mapped them to a simple test: authentic choice versus compulsion. In this video, we'll explore first the unforgiving circumstances that nudged her into who is she today. Second, the stabilizer frame she had to adapt in order to survive. Third, her fate, which is sincere but pressure-sealed and prone to fail. And fourth, why the no talent opinion is using a wrong scoreboard and what her real gift is. Let's start with the unforgiving circumstances. I am Beniamin and welcome to the Florin Beniamin Show. Chapter 1: An unforgiving and unlikely hard environment. Starting with the body. From early childhood, Mikhaila's health kept sounding alarms. Juvenile arthritis, wheelchairs, injections. Her father, Jordan, describes teaching his 8-year-old to self-inject, essentially training a do the hard thing now reflex. Override fear, execute anyway. Responsibility rehearsed very young, tied to pain, compliance, and performance. The Petersons' home culture, by Jordan's own account, frames life as a drama of order versus chaos, hero versus adversary. Families are asked to shoulder heavy loads with words, rituals, and rules that make suffering bearable and purposeful.
And Marduk, with his eyes and his capacity to speak magic words, goes out to confront Tiamat, who's like a watery sea dragon, something like that. And he cuts her into pieces, and he makes the world out of her pieces.
That mythology, Marduk slaying Tiamat, the hero uniting competing drives, wasn't only in Dad's lectures, it's the family heir. Children in that story are apprentice heroes who regulate and unite themselves to confront the unknown. Add the parenting climate. Rules like don't let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Signal a high expectation, high structure ethic. Truth over comfort, competence as love made visible. Consequences named out loud. Mastery and stoicism get rewarded early. Then the real storms hit the family. In 2019, Tammy, Mikhaila's mother, is diagnosed with a rare kidney cancer. A surgical injury follows. She's airlifted. Nothing works until on her anniversary the problem resolves. An event the family recounts as decisive for their openness to God.
Then my mom got sick with cancer, collecting duct carcinoma, and she told us, like, on morphine in the hospital, she's like, I'm gonna get better on my anniversary with your dad. This was like a month before that. And we're like, okay, how do you know that? Like, this is not looking good for you. How do you know that? And she was like, God.
Not long after Jordan, her father, enters the benzodiazepine catastrophe. Moscow ICU, double pneumonia, delirium, with Mikhaila and her then husband providing daily presence and logistical backbone across months and countries. Jordan explicitly thanks them for those daily visits and the 8-month multi-country recovery that followed. Layer in her own health shocks, hip and ankle replacements as a teen, periods of suicidal pain, long pharmacological mazes and withdrawals. Later environmental triggers she believes worsened autoimmune symptoms. Whether you agree with every inference or not, the biographical throughline is vigilance against bodily chaos. Now the children. During the summer 2025 crisis, while her father was rushed to hospital, her newborn Audrey was also taken by ambulance. The second emergency that summer after Audrey almost died at 6 weeks from near heart failure and was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary hypertension, which she says has since resolved.
In August, the day Dad was brought to a hospital by ambulance, my newborn Audrey was also brought to a hospital by ambulance within hours of each other. It was unbelievable. This was the second time this summer we had brought Audrey to the hospital after she almost died from near heart failure at 6 weeks old.
This is the sort of event that permanently resets a parent's threat radar. This chapter shows the environment, needles, needs, rules, and real emergencies. But kids don't just pass through storms, they learn how to be in them. In chapter 2, we meet the persona that Storm built, the stabilizer, and the silent contract she made with it to keep love and order intact. Chapter 2. The stabilizer. When you grow up inside the constant alarms, your own body, your mother's cancer scare, your father's collapse, even your newborn's ambulance ride, your nervous system learns a story about survival. Alice Miller would say, the child doesn't just endure events, the child adapts with beliefs that keep love and order intact. Here's what that child quietly decides. My worth equals how well I hold it together. Feelings are fuel for action, not for sharing. Adults are fragile. I shouldn't add weight. Control beats chaos. If I anticipate threats, we stay safe. Suffering must be meaningful, or I can't bear it. There is no safe no. The system needs me. And failure isn't a signal, it's shame. From those beliefs, a survival persona forms. The child becomes prematurely competent. Mini-adult, self-injecting, self-organizing, proud of endurance. Big feelings get converted into plans and principles. We don't cry, we execute. She merges with the parental role. Translator, scheduler, nurse, firefighter, automatically scanning for what the family needs next. Control rituals appear, lists, protocols, diets, health rules. Vigilance feels like love. The public mask is strong, useful, unfazed. Collapse happens offstage, or not at all. Boundaries blur. Exhaustion is a cue to push harder, and meaning become anesthetic, a heroic, spiritual, or a moral frame that compresses ambiguity so the machine can keep running. In other words, sometimes we use a big, clear story to numb the pain and cut through confusion so we can keep going. This works spectacularly. You get a person who tolerates stress ordinary people can't, who translates chaos into product and plans, who holds relationships and businesses together when the room shakes. But there is a price. The inner signal blunts. It's hard to tell what I want, from what the situation requires. The compulsion to stabilize becomes an identity. Projects and beliefs are chosen for how well they hold others together. Everything we've seen about the stabilizer points to one predictable move. When the room shakes, meaning must harden. That's not fraud, it's survival. In Chapter 3, we'll track how that survival reflects pressure seals fate. Sincere and decisive, chosen first to hold the storm before it has time to become practice. Chapter 3. A fate that wouldn't wait. This isn't about fake or real, it's about timing and function. Given her stabilizer wiring, Mikhaila's fate shows up as sincere, but pressure-forged, chosen first to hold the storm, and only later available to deepen.
I don't know if I can try to come up with like a logical framework with how my mind changed, but I think it just changed on a spiritual level. Like I got saved. So in 2021, I met my husband and he was a Christian. And I was like, I think it was a Holy Spirit glow. But I was like, you have this like nice, something's going on here that I'm really into.
Before the crisis seal, she says she wanted faith, read the Gospels, tried church, and only a couple years later, it just clicked.
And she was never, we have like family members and grandparents that are religious, but she wasn't religious. And she'd started praying and things when she was in the hospital. And the surgical problem, which we weren't able to fix, it resolved itself on their anniversary. I don't really know how to explain that. That's too much for me to logic out.
That's organic groundwork, not an overnight pause. But the seal happens under maximum load.
So that happened, and then I met my husband, who grew up a Christian, and I was having a pretty rough time. I was in the middle of a divorce. Well, I was at the end of a divorce, but it was like not good. My dad was still quite ill, and I was very, very stressed. And he was like, "How are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not depressed, but I'm like not doing well."
The moment of commitment is classic stabilizer under siege.
And he was like, "Oh, you should ask God to reveal himself to you. Like, have you done that before?" And I was like, "No." So I prayed that night and like really begged, like, if there's anybody out there, like, show me. And the next day I had this overwhelming sense of calm in a fairly stressful situation.
In the middle of a divorce and her father's illness, she prays one night, "If there's anybody out there, show me," and says, the next day, 4 areas of life suddenly switched directions. She concludes, "Okay, I'm all in." Post-conversion, she reports calm and joy and a value shift from status to family, which are real markers of change. I used to value money, success. Since I got saved, it's more family-oriented. I'm calmer overall and happier. At the same time, the language of relief and guidance is loud, faith as containment. She literally says, "My life has been much easier since then. I don't have to work as hard. God will show me." That's a stabilizer finding a map that helps her keep stabilizing without burning out. Early fates often sound certain, especially when chosen to carry load. In the October 2025 update about her father, she says they have no better explanation other than spiritual attacks for the neurological symptoms, pairing ICU and sepsis with a warfare frame.
Dad was in an ICU suffering from pneumonia and sepsis after dealing with a host of neurological issues this summer that we believe stem from CIRS, which is chronic inflammatory response syndrome due to decades of mold exposure. We don't have a better explanation for his neurological symptoms at the moment other than spiritual attacks.
That's not post-seminary nuance, it's coherence under pressure. Even in that same update, she pledges continuity. A team, including myself, continuing his mission, including Peterson's Academy and releasing the tour. The stabilizer reaches for belief and keeps the machine running. Her fate is sincere and young, chosen in a storm to hold the family together. Practice may deepen it, the function explains the tone. What would deepening look like for Mikhaila? Practice more than proclamations, quiet rhythms of prayer, community, service. Cost tolerance, holding convictions when they cost reach or revenue. Ambiguity bandwidth, I don't know yet, fewer totalizing war metaphors. Boundaries with love, capacity to say no, to brand family asks when misaligned. Ordinary joy, purpose on Tuesdays, not only in emergencies. A faith that wouldn't wait, that's Mikhaila faith. Sincere conviction, sealed in crisis, built to carry a load before it had time to become a lifelong practice. If faith arrived to hold the storm, how did it reshape the scoreboard for talent? Up next, why the same stabilizer engine makes her gifts look invisible, and how to measure them in real world. Chapter 4. How her hidden gifts hold everything together. People usually say she's a grifter, no talent, just riding her dad's fame.
For me, it's never quite sat right with me that Peterson involved his daughter in his media empire. I mean, nor am I going to say that his daughter doesn't have her own, shall we say, charisma. It doesn't seem like she has any particular expertise, though. But she has a screen presence.
Okay, let's test that. If the gift is real, we should find it where the camera doesn't look, in crisis ops, platform building, and brand stewardship.
Well, he's hopefully recovering. And like I said, I'll keep people updated. He has a team of people, including myself, continuing his mission, including Peterson Academy, and will be releasing his We Who Wrestle with God tour to everyone on YouTube, which he's wanted to do for a long time.
During her father's ICU summer, pneumonia, sepsis, neurocomplication, Mikhaila didn't vanish. She took point, explained the medical mess, named uncertainties, asked for prayer, and crucially, promised continuity. He has a team of people, including myself, continuing his mission. That's crisis communication and continuity planning in the same breath.
So Peterson Academy is $500 a year. You can pay that monthly, but it's a year contract. And that was basically as we were like, well, let's make it as cheap as possible.
So
Just
that's
because
where there's
it's
a
funny.
portal. There'll be options for them to watch different courses.
Listen to how she describes product. $500 a year, everything's available, no outside funding, and pay instructors well. That's an operator thinking about access, cash flow, and supply side incentives. She also talks like a producer-editor, keeping viewers' attention with animation, pacing, and recuts, because she personally loses focus with long static lectures, so she engineers around it. That's audience retention thinking.
Being in charge of my dad's business and having business conversations with, particularly with men, but it's not just men, it's also with women. Because of the way I look, I'm immediately put into this category of like stupid, young, blonde woman who has only had any type of influence because of her dad.
She says it plainly. She's been working with her dad full-time since 2018, is proud of it, and sees it as a family business. She also credits herself with helping building his brand before her conversion, organizing, launching, monetizing. Grifters don't usually choose the switchboard, they choose the spotlight. Her lane is launches, coordination, and continuity. Public spats, the Candace Owens exchange for example, feed the grifter narrative because they're visible and emotional.
Do you mind if I finish my sentence, Mikhaila? You've just been talking for a long time. Do you mind if I... There's not a time. There's not a time. Do you mind if I finish my sentence?
It's hard to address them all.
Do you mind if I finish my sentence? I feel like I've let you speak.
I'm in a bit,
and
but go ahead.
Everyone's speaking.
Critics frame her rhetoric as manipulative or imprecise. That's fair game to debate. but it doesn't tell you what she does off camera in the machine room. Meanwhile, her father's book publicly thanks Mikhaila and Andrei for daily visits and months of medical logistics across Russia, Florida and Serbia, nanny quarantines, visas, hospitals. That's proof for sustained backstage labor, not clip-friendly content. Notice what's missing? Viral genius codes. Because stabilizer skills prevents fires, it doesn't produce sound bites. You can disagree with her takes, diets or rhetoric, but the transcript trail and all her work and success shows operator work. If that's no talent, it's the kind of thing that keeps the lights on. If you made it this far, thank you. Mikhaila Peterson is not perfect. She is human, strong in ways most people never have to be, and paying costs most people never see. The fair question isn't hero or grifter, it's can a pressure-forged life make space for real practice, real rest, and real choice? If you're watching this as a critic, I hope today gave you context without excuses. If you're watching as a fan, I hope it gave you admiration with eyes open. And if you're watching it as someone who's also been the stabilizer in your family, maybe this is your nudge to let the role loosen a little, so your life can deepen too. No matter what you believe about this, I hope love, peace and harmony find you. Before you go, if you like this episode, feel free to watch this next episode about Mikhaila's father, Jordan Peterson, and his God. Until next time, Beniamin.